Okay, Sesa Sterlite in focus, 201 post earnings. Tom Albanese, CEO at Sesa Sterlite, joins us on the show. Tom, good to have you. First up, the December quarter numbers have been weak, mainly on the decline in most commodity prices, especially crude oil. Take us through the highlights of the quarter.
Yes, I think, we have been dealing with challenging markets, particularly in oil, but also, iron ore and lesser extent in copper. But we've had some mitigating effects in aluminum and zinc pricing. So overall, I think there were a solid set of results, and particularly what we focused on is those items of the business that we can control. Our production, can we ramp up our production? Can we hold our production and our costs? And certainly in this environment, that's really what we should be focusing on. From my perspective, it's almost a tale of two economies. In India, there's huge excitement, huge vibrancy. The make in India, from our perspective, find the product in India. It's leading us to be quite optimistic about business conditions, not just right now, but certainly over the next several years in India. And that's a view that's shared again throughout this audience. But from a global perspective, the commodity sector is in general oversupplied condition. And so what we're seeing in oil has been clearly a huge meltdown in oil prices, and we've seen the same thing in iron ore prices, and a lesser extent in copper. And that's not because of deflationary forces, but it's because of natural supply demand. You have all this new global supply coming in, and you've had a slowdown in demand growth. So you have that mismatch leading to lower prices. From our perspective, these things, they're cycles. I've been in this industry for 35 years. I've seen times when the cycle goes down. I've seen times when the cycle goes up. So I would say that it's a difficult commodity backdrop in an exciting India market. So we have to persevere through this cyclical low, and I think we'll be very, very well positioned for when the global cycle kicks back up, and I think it will over the next couple of years, and that's going to be right when the commodities are going to be in strong demand in India, and we'll be there.
What are the general expectations for crude and base metal prices going forward? Is there more pain since globally things are not looking upbeat economically?
I think for us, first of all, we are low-cost producers in everything that we're producing. We're first or second quartile. So look at oil, for example. We had our Kane results call last week. Our new CEO, Mike Asher, talked about even in a $40 oil price environment, we intend to be cash positive after capital expenditures. There are very few people in the global oil sector that can say that. So we want to be the last man standing in oil in this environment, and we will see. As we speak now, we saw yesterday one of the super majors, oil super majors, talk about cutting $15 billion of their own capex. So what that means is you're going to see a huge slowdown in the growth of oil supply, and the longer that persists, the tighter the future conditions for oil will be in the future, and again, prices will recover. So, for us, we have to be in a position in the here and now to weather these prices. But we also have to keep our options open, keep our growth prospects open, so that when we see that recovery, and I'm absolutely convinced we will see that price recovery in a period of time, then we'll be very well positioned. So again, Sesa Sterlite, we're going to continue to focus on delivering strong EBITDA margins. Our EBITDA margins in this quarter were 42%. Strong profit after tax. Our profit after tax was 1.588 crore. We're very, very strong numbers in this weak economic environment. We're going to use this period, even in low prices, to continue to bring down our overall debt levels, and then we'll be particularly strongly focused when those sectors ultimately recover. Meanwhile, with our diversified portfolio, because remember, we're not only in the business of oil and iron ore and copper, we're also in the business of aluminum and zinc. And those businesses have actually been particularly strong. The markets have been strong, and zinc, where some of the largest mines in the world are scheduled to be closing during the course of this year, where the markets are expecting quite a bit of tightness in the zinc markets. And again, we have a growing portfolio in our Hindustan zinc business, and we have a new mine coming in South Africa, so we'll be particularly well placed in that area.
Everyone is curious about the development in Goa on restarting mining operations there. Give us a timeline expected and the total production mandate that the company has.
Well, a year ago I was asked the question. I think I was asked the question by you, and we said we hope to get mining going before the monsoon season. So here we are in end of January of 2015 now, and I'm saying the same thing. I hope to get things going by the monsoon season. Unfortunately, it's the monsoon season of 2015. So we are hopeful. We have been quite pleased with the efforts taken by the Chief Minister in Goa to move forward the lease processes, and those have been very important. We still need to see some environmental approvals be cleared, and I think in this very weak global iron ore price environment, we do need to see relief from the export duty. And again, with all of these in place, and we'd hope that they'd be in place, we'd then be in a position to get jobs going again, get the economic engine of Goa going again, resume exports of iron ore, and we'd hope to start that before this monsoon season.
Well, the company is planning to review expenditure in capex due to declining commodity prices. Can you elaborate on which business will see a squeeze in spending?
Yes, I think what we have to look at, and again, all of our peers in the sector are doing exactly the same thing in those markets that are particularly weak. And I think oil is the notable market like that. We have to look at re-engineering our business, re-engineering our projects, looking at OPEX, looking at CAPEX, talking to vendors who, by the way, they're all looking at less in their order books on a global basis. So looking at what is a more competitive contractual relationship with those vendors in this environment, so they can keep business. And I think to some extent, if projects don't make the cut at oil in the 40s, save them for some later day. It's not stopping projects or eliminating projects, but we may be deferring some capital for that later day. I don't want to lose the options, because I do have I think that the markets have long-term bright prospects, but at the same time deferring some of our current commitments. And certainly we're looking at all aspects of capital and operating cost spending as we speak, and I would expect significant capex reductions in this upcoming fiscal year.
How optimistic are you about getting a coal mine in the upcoming auctions? Will you bid for them aggressively?
Well, again, we're looking forward to what will be, I think, quite a competitive auction process, both on the IPP and the CPP side. Certainly, I can't foreshadow what the outcome would be, and no one wants to be an overbidder in an auction process. So I think we're reviewing the opportunities. We do see the auction process as being a very important part of India's overall effort to recover from what is an endemic shortage of coal, which is, I think, holding back the entire Indian economy, not just the power sector, but the general economy, reducing the reliance that India has on seaborne imports, which are, it's been an incredible rise in India's requirement to import coal, which again has been, I think, poor from a foreign exchange standpoint, exchange earnings, everything else. And again, find more Indian coal for those Indian markets, and this auction will be part of that.
And finally, the MCA has challenged the merger of Sesa and Sterlite Industries on the ground that it is a colorable device to evade tax. What is your reaction to this serious allegation?
Well, I'll just have to leave the court matters for the because that is the privilege and the efforts of the court. But from my own perspective, from a business perspective, the Sesa Sterlite merger has been very important in bringing the companies together so they can be managed more effectively. And certainly what we've been looking at would be those operational synergies that can be created by having, again, the same groups that are working across other areas. And for example, I do see that we've been delivering procurement synergies, we've been delivering marketing synergies through the creation of Sesa Sterlite. So my focus on it's been from an operational perspective, a better managed company as a consequence.
Thanks, Tom, for joining us and giving us details about the company's earnings and the outlook thereof. Appreciate your time. The other piece of news that the market is focused on is IDFC, transitioning into IDFC Bank.